I remember the sound of the sirens like it was yesterday. They were constant, relentless, and terrifying. In Kiev, where I once lived, peace was something we took for granted. My life was filled with simple routines, friends, and the comfort of a city that never seemed to sleep. But that changed on February 24th, 2022. The moment the war started, it felt like the world as I knew it was ripped apart. It was hard to grasp. The shock, the fear, the uncertainty. Every minute felt like an eternity. The first few days were the hardest. People were running in every direction, trying to figure out what to do, where to go, and how to survive. In the chaos, I barely knew whether to stay or to leave. But with each passing day, the danger grew. It became clear that staying in Ukraine would mean facing an unimaginable risk. It wasn't just about being caught in the middle of a war anymore. It was about losing everything. It was about losing my home, my family, and my future. The decision to leave wasn't easy, but it was one I had to make. When I finally decided to flee, I had no idea where to go. I could feel the weight of my decision hanging over me. The thought of leaving my country, my friends, and everything I'd known my entire life was gut-wrenching. But I had to move forward. So, I packed whatever I could, leaving behind most of my possessions, and started the long journey to find safety. That's when I heard about the Philippines. At first, the idea of moving to the Philippines seemed almost absurd. I had no ties to the country, no friends there, no understanding of what life would be like. But it was a destination that was open to refugees like me, and that alone made it a beacon of hope in the darkness. I couldn't even picture the Philippines in my mind, but I knew it was my only chance. The flight was long, filled with uncertainty, and every moment felt like an eternity. I left my country behind, and I was filled with the hope that maybe, just maybe, I could start over. Arriving in the Philippines was a strange experience. The heat hit me like a wave as soon as I stepped off the plane. The air was thick, the sun blinding, and the sounds of the busy city were overwhelming. It was so different from the cold, chaotic streets of Kyiv. I didn't know anyone here, and I certainly didn't know how to navigate life in a completely foreign country. But I was determined to make it work. The first thing that struck me was the kindness of the people. Filipinos are known for their warmth and hospitality, and that became immediately clear. Strangers greeted me with smiles, even though I spoke no Tagalog, and the language barrier was difficult. It was a world away from the tense, uncertain atmosphere I had left behind in Ukraine. But even with the warmth of the people, there was still this emptiness. I didn't know where I fit in. I had no home, no community. Everything felt new, overwhelming, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was an outsider. I found temporary accommodation in a small apartment in Manila. It wasn't much, just a simple room with basic furniture, but it became my sanctuary. The first few days were hard. I didn't know how to find work or how to integrate into the culture. I spent a lot of time alone, reflecting on everything I had left behind. My thoughts often drifted back to Ukraine. I missed my family, my friends, the familiarity of my life back home. I missed feeling grounded. But then something happened that I never expected. Slowly, the Philippines started to feel less like a foreign country and more like a new beginning. I met people who were eager to learn about my story and who shared their own. I started to make connections. I found a local community of people who had been through similar experiences, people who had also fled conflict or hardship and were building new lives. And then, there were the little things. The beauty of the Philippines, which I had overlooked at first, began to reveal itself. The beaches, the vibrant markets, the lush greenery, it was like nothing I had ever seen before. Every day felt like an adventure. I spent weekends exploring new towns, tasting exotic foods, and soaking in the culture. It was difficult to understand at first, but over time I began to find joy in the simplicity of it all. The challenges were still there, of course. Learning a new language, finding steady work, adjusting to a completely different pace of life. There were moments when I wanted to give up. But I kept pushing forward. I realized that the Philippines, with its friendly people and vibrant culture, had become my second home. It wasn't Ukraine, and it never would be. But I was starting to create a new life here. The real turning point came when I found a job in a local cafe. It wasn't much, but it gave me purpose. It allowed me to interact with people, practice my language skills, and start contributing to the community. It was a small victory, but it was mine. I felt like I was finally becoming a part of something again, something bigger than just surviving. Of course, there were still difficult days. Some nights, the weight of what I had left behind would come crashing down on me. The pain of losing my home, my country, my loved ones, it would all hit me at once. But I learned how to carry it. I learned how to balance the grief with the gratitude for the life I was building in the Philippines. In time, I also found a group of people who had become like family to me. Fellow refugees, locals, and expats alike, they welcomed me with open arms, and I finally felt like I belonged. The community that had once seemed so out of reach became a pillar of support. Together, we celebrated holidays, shared meals, and navigated the ups and downs of life in the Philippines. I realized that no matter how far I had traveled from Ukraine, I wasn't alone. Looking back, I never could have predicted how my life would unfold. The journey from the war in Ukraine to the Philippines wasn't easy. It was filled with pain, uncertainty, and loss. But it also taught me something I never expected: the power of resilience, of starting over, and of finding hope, even in the darkest times. Now, I see the Philippines not just as a place I ended up in because of circumstance, but as a place that gave me the chance to rebuild my life. It's a place where I've found new purpose, new friendships, and a sense of belonging that I thought I had lost forever. This journey, one I never could have imagined, has taught me that home isn't just about a place. It's about the people, the community, and the strength you find within yourself to rise again. And though my heart will always carry the scars of war, I've learned that you can build a new life, even in the most unexpected places. So, to anyone watching this who feels like they've lost everything or doesn't know where to turn, remember, there is always a way forward. There is always a chance to rebuild. I never thought the Philippines would be the place that saved me, but it's where I found my second chance. And for that, I will forever be grateful.